Hello, my name is Brendan. Why did I write Going for an Interview? At the beginning of 2012, I was in a similar situation that you are probably in now. I was looking for a job, and it had been years and years since I'd been interviewed. So what did I do? Well, I searched the internet and bought some books. What astonished me that all the information was basically in the same format. That is, a question with a proposed answer, then another question, and another, and so on. This is the problem with every interview book or website available that I have seen. They simply list hundreds of questions with their answers, but there are thousands, probably tens of thousands of questions they can ask. You cannot memorize every possible question and rehearse every possible answer. My approach for interview success is based on your stories. That is, stories of your life. What have you done and all that? And we link these stories to groups of questions. We start from the foundation of your stories of your life and then work our way up to the interview questions. We do not work from the interview questions down. This will give you the building blocks and therefore the robustness, the confidence and the flexibility to answer all interview questions they can throw at you in a sincere, factual way. I know you will be most worried about negative questions like your weaknesses, mistakes, regrets and all those horrible things. As I am not someone to shy away from a challenge, I will use these negative questions as an example of my approach. If I can impress you with these most difficult questions, I hope it will persuade you of the beauty and usefulness of my innovative approach. How would you answer the following question? What is your biggest character flaw? Let's first of all think about what not to do. I have seen a serious internet site advise the following answer. I love chocolate. I cannot walk past the shop without popping in and buying some. Oh, I see the trick. The interviewer is going to be laughing so hard at this gem of answer that they will not push you for a real answer. Clever. If I heard this answer as an interviewer, it would annoy me, and I know from experience that it does annoy most interviewers. Other character flaw answers, which I am sure you've heard before, are that you work too hard, you're a perfectionist, you are too sensitive, and all that rubbish. Now, firstly, these answers are pathetic. They are slimy, insincere, and avoiding the question. Interviews are simple. Answer the question. Secondly, they do not help you answer other questions. What is your biggest mistake at work? Or what do you most regret doing at work in the last 5 years? So the answers give you no robustness, no flexibility. And lastly, they do not tell the interviewer anything about you. They're impersonal and frankly boring. Interviews are self-reflecting occasions. You need to share with the interviewer who you are. You will need to share with the interviewer your experiences, your stories, and your reflections on your life. So what do we do with my innovative approach? Well, first, find a story of when you made a mistake at work because of a character flaw of yours. That is, find the right story. Not a story of when you lost your temper and punched someone in the nozzle because you have a short fuse, or when you stole money because you're a greedy and of disreputable character. I will tell you a personal story of when I worked in Papua New Guinea at the National Post Office, Post PNG. I was the Chief Finance Officer between 2005 and 2010. When I first started, there was no delegated financial responsibility for the managers, none at all. I wanted to introduce delegated financial responsibility coupled with more accountability. That is, managers could authorise payments and they would be held accountable for their expenditure through their results each month. Simple really. It was not a revolutionary idea, but it was new at Post PNG. Well, I charged ahead and designed what I believe was a first-class process, all electronic and paperless and all that 21st century stuff. But it was, to put it mildly, a disaster. I did not have buy-in from many of the operational managers. I did not have the full support of my boss, the CEO, and the board of directors were disinterested. I was on my own. There was no appetite for change. After 3 months, I had to backtrack and introduce a far more modest process. I did eventually introduce all the bells and whistles that I initially wanted, but it took me a lot longer than I planned. It took me over 12 months, in fact. What did I do wrong? Well, I wanted to do too much too quickly. I was too impatient, too impetuous. Of course I was right. It had to happen, but not all at once. So now we have my story, and of course you will have your own story. But how does this help you with an interview? Well, you can now answer many different questions. Here we go. What was your biggest mistake and what did you learn? Well, when I worked at Post P&G, I introduced a new process. Blah, blah, blah. It was a disaster. What did I learn? I learned that you must gain the support of the key players in an organisation before making big changes. Otherwise, you will not be successful. What is your biggest character flaw? What is your biggest weakness? I can be too impatient. My character is to charge ahead and get things done. For example, when I worked at Post P&G. But I've learned through this experience and other experiences that you have to sometimes slow down and build a consensus for change. It is not in my character, but I've learned that is what you have to do if you want to be successful, and that is what I do now. When have you failed? What do you regret doing? When I worked at Post P&G. When has your personality caused you problems? I am naturally an impatient person, but I've learned the importance of patience from experience when I worked at Post P&G. Can you tell me a difficult obstacle you have overcome? Well, when I worked at Post P&G, I was trying to introduce financial delegation to the organisation. It was a big cultural change for the company. There was no appetite for it. But I did not give up. I persevered and I succeeded. What makes you annoyed? What upsets you? When I do not achieve my goals. For example, when I worked at Post P&G. Can you give me an example of your persistence, of your determination? When I worked at Post P&G, I wanted to introduce financial delegation. It was not easy. I failed on the way, but I did not give up. I continued charging ahead and I succeeded. What is your proudest moment? What is your biggest achievement? What is your greatest accomplishment? When I worked at Post P&G and all that stuff, it was difficult. It was a challenge. I did not give up and I succeeded. Wow, I was so proud. Why should we not hire you? What do you not like about yourself? Why should we hire the other guy and not you? And so on and so forth. Enough questions, I think. I believe I have demonstrated the power of my approach. Do you agree? Are you convinced? My book will list all the stories that you need. This book does not make any false claims like many other books I've read. I do not say that in 1 hour you'll be fully prepared for an interview. It will take time, hard work and lots of thinking, but it is an enjoyable process. And I promise it will be worthwhile and help you find the dream job that you, well, dream of. So enjoy.